Monkey D. Luffy, also known as Straw Hat Luffy, is a fictional character and the protagonist of the One Piece manga series, created by Eiichiro Oda. Luffy made his debut as a young boy who acquires the properties of rubber after accidentally eating one of the devil fruits that belong to Red-Haired Shanks. Monkey D. Luffy is the captain of the Straw Hat Pirates, and dreamt of being a pirate since childhood from the influence of his idol and mentor Red-Haired Shanks. At the age of 17, Luffy sets sail from the East Blue Sea to the Grand Line in search of the legendary treasure, One Piece, to succeed Gol D. Roger is king of the pirates. He fights multiple antagonists, and aids and befriends the inhabitants of several islands on his journey. Usually cheerful, he becomes serious and even aggressive when he fights. Luffy uses his rubber body to concentrate his power, executing a range of attacks. In his signature attack, the Gum Gum pistol, he slingshots punches at opponents from a distance. Luffy also grows stronger over the course of the story by transforming his body through different gears. This is reflected in his bounty, which is used to measure the threat he poses to the world government. He is the grandson of Monkey D. Garp, who is a vice-admiral of the Navy, the son of Monkey D. Dragon, who is the leader of the Revolutionary Army, and sworn brother of Portgas D. Ace and Sabo. Luffy appears in most of the episodes, films, television specials, and OVAs of the manga's anime adaptations and several of the franchise's video games. He is the only character in One Piece who appears in every story arc of the series. Due to the series' international popularity, Luffy is one of the world's most recognizable manga and anime characters. In addition to the One Piece franchise, the character appears in a number of manga and anime series and collaborative video games. His critical reception is largely positive. When Eiichiro Oda created Luffy, he strove for a manliness similar to that of Akira Toriyama's Dragon Ball series. Oda said that he named his main character Luffy because he felt that the name suited him. When he later learned about the sailing term, luffing, he was delighted by the coincidence. In his prototype one-shot, Romance Dawn, Oda refined the artistic style and story elements before publishing the final product a year later as the first chapter of One Piece. In the second version of Romance Dawn, Luffy resembled his design at the beginning of the series. After the one-shot of One Piece was made, Oda contacted his former mentor, Nobuhiro Watsuki, whom he assisted in making the manga Rurouni Kenshin. Watsuki was pleased with Luffy's characterization and advised Oda to briefly change him for the main series to make it look like Luffy is always acting on his own free will. To please his readers, Oda added rubberization to Luffy for comic effect and tries to make the character straightforward. In retrospect, Watsuki felt characters like Luffy reflect a trend of heroes who do not kill their enemies similar to his character Himura Kenshin. Gum Gum pistol, a punch which he learned during years of training. Another technique developed later in the series is Gear 2, which increases his strength and speed for a short time but strains his body and can shorten his lifespan if used too long. Observing CP9's shave, Soru technique, Luffy adapts the move to his rubber body and matches the assassin's speed. Gear 3, another technique, uses air in his bones to attack but makes him shrink afterward. Luffy can use both techniques simultaneously. After the 2-year time skip, he gains better control of these techniques and is no longer affected by their drawbacks. Gum Gum pistol, a punch which he learned during years of training. Another technique developed later in the series is Gear 2, which increases his strength and speed for a short time but strains his body and can shorten his lifespan if used too long. Observing CP9's shave, Soru technique, Luffy adapts the move to his rubber body and matches the assassin's speed. Gear 3, another technique, uses air in his bones to attack but makes him shrink afterward. Luffy can use both techniques simultaneously. After the 2-year time skip, he gains better control of these techniques and is no longer affected by their drawbacks. Luffy develops another technique, Gear 4, similar to Gear 3, inflating his muscles with air to increase the size of his body except for his legs while his limbs are coated in armament haki. In contrast to Gears 2 and 3, Luffy uses compression rather than extension for his attacks, compressing and releasing his limbs to dish out devastating blows. The force of his kicks are to an extent that he uses them to fly in a similar fashion to CP9's moonwalk technique. Later, it is revealed that the Gum Gum fruit's real name is the human fruit model, Nika, a mythical zone-type devil fruit whose awakening grants Luffy's rubber-like body increased strength and freedom, including turning the environment and other living beings into rubber, which is limited only by the user's imagination. It is for this reason that the user is said to become the embodiment of freedom, able to bring joy to the people around them and making it the most ridiculous power in the world. Luffy's hair and clothes also turn white. The world government renamed it to erase the fruit's original name from history and reclassified it as a paramecia in order to conceal its true nature. The fruit was originally a treasure sought by the world government for over 800 years until it was stolen by Red-Haired Shanks. According to the Five Elders, the fruit had not been awakened for centuries prior to Luffy's having done so. Luffy has the ability to use Haki ambition. This ability has three types. Armament Haki, an armor-like force, which can amplify defense and the force of attacks and negate a devil fruit user's defense, allow physical contact and damage. Observation Haki, a sixth sense, which can read a person's moves and detect their presence, and Conqueror's Haki, which can render weak-willed people or animals near him unconscious. Luffy learns all those types of Haki and uses them with his improved attacks. As a result of his encounter with Magellan, he has also developed an immunity to poison, although it is shown that a strong poison may affect him, albeit very slowly. During his fight against Charlotte Katakuri, Luffy gains an advanced form of observation Haki, called Future Sight, to see several seconds into the future. During his time at Udon Prison in Wano, Luffy gains two new advanced forms of armament Haki. The first one is called Emission to shoot a short blast of Haki from a distance, while the second one is called Internal Destruction, which can also go inside his target's body or objects and destroy it from within. During his fight with Kaido at the top of Onigashima, Luffy unlocks an advanced form of Conqueror's Haki. It is the ability to coat his entire body with it, similar to armament Haki, which could further enhance his attacks. Throughout One Piece, the bounty placed on Luffy continually increases as he faces off against increasingly powerful pirates, representing his notoriety in the One Piece world. After defeating Buggy, Don Krieg, and Arlong of East Blue, early on in the series, Luffy's initial bounty is set to 30 million berries. By the major timeskip in One Piece, this number had increased to 400 million berries after defeating some of the 7 warlords of the sea, rampaging at Enies Lobby, and retaking Nico Robin. In current arcs, Luffy's total bounty has increased to 3 billion berries after becoming one of the 4 emperors in the New World. Defeats Doflamingo. In the aftermath, 7 pirate crews pledged their loyalty to Luffy, despite his protests, marking the formation of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet. Afterward, the remaining crew and their friends are transported by their new subordinates to Zoo and learn it was devastated by the forces of Emperor Kaido. Luffy also learns that Sanji, who was part of the group that heads to Zoo first, had been blackmailed by his family to agree to an arranged marriage to the daughter of Emperor Big Mom. The crew learns from the Mink tribe about the road poneglyphs and their connection to the final island Laugh Tale, where the One Piece is. An alliance between the samurai, Mink, Straw Hats and Law is made to defeat Kaido, who is revealed to rule over Wano via a puppet shogun. Being forewarned going to Wano, Luffy, and half the crew, along with the Mink warriors Pedro and Carrot, infiltrate Big Mom's territory Toddle and both to retrieve Sanji and copy the writing on the road poneglyph that Big Mom has in her possession. Luffy and Sanji learn the wedding is a setup to murder Sanji's family for their advanced technology, while Brook steals a printing of the road poneglyph. Big Mom subordinates Jinbei and Bege betray her, and Luffy and Sanji enact a failed assassination attempt on Big Mom at the wedding, in front of the press. Jinbei joins the crew but is temporarily left behind as the rest of the crew barely escapes from Big Mom's territory. Luffy defeats 2 of Big Mom's 3 generals and his bounty skyrockets. After the fight with Big Mom, Luffy becomes a hot topic at the Reverie, a global summit of rulers of 50 nations in Mary Joy's, the capital of the world government above the Red Line. Most view him as a dangerous madman, but the kings of Sakura, Alabasta, Fishman Island, Dressrosa, and Prudence secretly favor Luffy since he saved them from tyranny. Meanwhile, Luffy and the others are separated entering the Wano country. Luffy reunites with Zoro before meeting with the rest of the crew in alliance. Luffy challenges Emperor Kaido but is defeated and thrown in prison alongside fellow supernova Eustace Kid. There, he meets Yogoro of the Flower and trains under him, learning a new form of armament Haki that will enable him to damage Kaido. They later escape the prison and plan to attack the island of Onigashima, which Kaido and his crew currently occupy. Luffy, along with his crew allied with Trafalgar Law, Eustace Kid and the 9 retainers of Kazuki Oden, charge for the island to beat Kaido and free the country of Wano. During the battle, he faces Kaido, and after several rounds in which Luffy ends up at his limits, he ends up awakening the power of his devil fruit, thanks to which he can defeat the Emperor of the Sea. Because of this, a week later of the events Luffy happens to be considered one of the 4 emperors.